What's going on, everybody? It's Josh here with Lineup Logic. Happy Friday morning, day after Thanksgiving. Hope you had a good one. Hope you won some moolah in the NFL little three-game slate. I didn't. Did not get in on LeGarrette Blount or Amari Cooper. Not good times, but it's all good. It's Friday. We got a big old NBA slate today. And what I want to talk about today is a little model that I made for NBA. It's super simple. I'm going to try to update it every day if I can. Work gets in the way. Gotta, pay attention to my family. Got other things going on other than DFS. Primarily other things going on other than updating spreadsheets every day. But if you followed me for any time, you know that I love me some spreadsheets. So let's take a look and see what we got here. I'll kind of break it down for you, share with you the link on how to get it, and hopefully you can get some value out of it. So let's take a look. So what you got here is my my spreadsheet that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. And as I speak, I got my child trying to get in the room right now. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I'm in the middle of something important. All right. So here's the sheet. If you're watching this, just watch, and then I'll tweet out the link and I'll pin it to the top of my feed and Twitter. But what you're looking at here is, I think, really simple. It comes from RotoGrinders. RotoGrinders gives out free data. I'm kind of just cycling through my tabs here. But the first thing that's free, they give it out every day for free. Anyone can access it. You don't need an account. You don't need to pay a dime. It's their FanDuel projections. And the thing I love a lot about what RotoGrinders does is they have ceiling and floor projections as well as their, basic projected points. They've also got projected minutes. They got a whole bunch of other things, but for the sake of this sheet, we're going to solely focus on projected ceiling, floor, points, and minutes. The other thing that they offer, this is nothing special, but it's easy for me to copy into the sheet here, is their recent points scored. And I'm looking at it from a 2-week range, the last 2 weeks. So guys typically will play 6, 7, 8 games in a 2-week span. If they're healthy the entire time. So I think that's a pretty good indicator of recent performance. The last 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So we're going to have that in our sheet as well. You can access this by going to NBA and clicking on See All Featured. Once it loads, we'll scroll down here and you can look at player projections in this one right here. And then, oops, let me go back. I'm going to click off this here. We don't need it anymore. So you can get the player projections there and you can get the player stats there. One thing you'll probably notice too is I don't have any DVP data in here. This is solely player based. And the reason I don't have DVP data in here is because that's all baked into their projections. Anybody that makes a projection is going to bake in DVP and pace. They're going to bake in points per minute, fantasy points per minute. um, Vegas lines, etc. So I am not going to show DVP on here because it is factored into the projections. What you're looking at here, you got your player, your position, the salary, their team, their opponent, the raw points that they've averaged over the last 2 weeks, and then their 2-week plus minus. And what the 2-week plus minus is based on what they've averaged over the last 2 weeks, right? Like their last 7 games or so, 6 games. Based on what they've averaged versus their salary, what is the plus minus? And what plus minus is you have a constant, okay? And you show the difference between that constant and the variable. So, for example, for Trey Burke, he's averaged 34.2 points per game, fantasy points per game, FanDuel points per game over the last, 5 games, 6, I don't know how many games he's played. And he's 4,900. That is very cheap for a guy that's averaging 30, almost 35 fantasy points a game. And the constant is 5. Why is it 5? The reason it's 5 is I want my players to get 5x minimum. The reason I want 5x minimum is in FanDuel, NBA, DFS, you want to definitely shoot for at least 5x. That's, from what I've noticed over the years, kind of that nice solid baseline of value, return on value. So a guy that averages 34 points per game, and let me restart that. A guy that's 4,900 should average a lot less at 5x value than 34 points per game. So Trey Burke, you're getting him for this cheap price, 4,900, but he's averaging what a guy who, we can sort this by 2-week plus minus right here. So if we go down to 0, basically what plus minus shows us is who's fairly priced. So like Klay Thompson, DeAndre Ayton, Trevor Ariza, Julius Randle, like all these guys in this range right here, like around 0, they are priced for what they've been scoring recently. So there you go. Trevor Ariza, Noah Vonleh, who has just had a big, boost recently, getting a lot of playing time, producing nicely. But a guy that's 4,800, 4,900, whatever, averages about 24 points per game. So you should be, paying a lot more for Trey Burke as of late, but you're not. You are getting him at a huge discount based on what he's been returning lately. So that's what the 2-week plus minus shows us. I'm trying to show us, based on what they've recently done and based on what their current price is, are you getting a value there? Okay? A lot of the time, plus minus is expressed for projections, but I want to look at it also for recent performance. Then I've also got projected minutes. And these, again, are Roto Grinders projected minutes. I showed you in that page for projections. Again, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. And projected minute plus, points per minute plus minus, okay? So projected minutes, it is what it is, okay? How many projected minutes is Roto Grinders looking at that guy getting, okay? And then we have fantasy points per minute. Okay, we all know what fantasy points per minute are, right? 1 fantasy point per minute. The guy scores, averages 1 fantasy point per minute. So if a guy plays 30 minutes and averages 1 fantasy point per minute, he should, on average, score 30 points. Okay, the higher the better. But I want to factor in fantasy points per minute to my final weighted plus minus, because that's what we're leading to, is a weighted plus minus. So I have to express it in a similar way to 2-week plus minus, and then what you'll see in a moment here, projected, ceiling, and floor plus minus. So I can't factor in fantasy points per minute into that score unless I express it through plus minus. So what I did was I averaged all the plus minuses for a giant sample size. And it comes out to 1.07. Will that change depending on the slate? I don't think by very much. I think, given enough players to sample from, we can be confident that 1.07 is like a nice baseline as a good fantasy point per minute, 1.07. So just like 5x value, I'm shooting for 1.07 fantasy points per minute. Okay? If every player on my team played 28 minutes or 30 minutes, what is that? Not 270 minutes times 1.07. Let me pull out my calculator. 270 minutes times 1.07. So that's 288.9. So if I had 9 players, all of whom averaged 1.07 fantasy points per minute, and they all played 30 minutes, my FanDuel team would score 289 points. Now, it'd easily cash in most contests. Okay, so 1.07 is kind of my baseline for what I'm shooting for. So, but I hide this column, and the reason I hide it is because we don't want to look at fantasy points per minute from a raw fantasy points per minute standpoint. We want to look at it from a plus minus standpoint. How good is this player versus that 1.07 average? And if we sort by this column, we can see that Anthony Davis leads the way, well above average. Joel Embiid, Giannis, Whiteside, Westbrook, Durant, James, etc. So that kind of gives you a frame of reference, like where do these guys stand based on the average. And so your average guy is Mario Hezonja. He plays limited minutes though, so Donnie Mitch, Bradley Beal, Timmy Hardaway, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Joshie Richardson, Gordon Hayward. Like, these are your average producers on a per minute basis. Okay? So far we've got 2-week plus minus. So far we've got fantasy points per minute plus minus. Now we've got their projection. Okay? And again, plus minus, same deal. So what is their plus minus for their projected points? But I'm looking at it versus their salary, okay? Just like I am the 2-week plus minus, the fantasy points per minute plus minus is based on the average points per minute for a large sample size. This, again, is going against their salary. Based on their salary, what should they be scoring for 5x value? Okay? And I subtract that from what they're projected for. So for this slate, Draymond Green is underpriced because his plus minus is 6.5. His 6.5 plus minus leads the slate right now. Okay, I pulled this at like 9 a.m. Eastern time. It'll change throughout the day. Like I said, I'll try to update it. I can't promise you I will. I mean, it's going to be free. Like, So you can't complain about free, right? I'll try to like put somewhere, like maybe I'll put like right here, you know, updated 9 a.m. Eastern time. You know this is their name. You don't need me to tell you that's their name. And then maybe I will put this in yellow. There you go. All right. And then I'll center it just to make it look all pretty. I didn't center it. Come on, man. There we go. All right. So now you know when I've updated it. Improvements, man. Okay. So where were we? So Draymond leads the way in projected plus minus. He should be priced higher. 6,600. So he should. So for a player that's 6,600, they should be scoring like 33 points. So let's see if we sort by projected. I'll tell you what he should be priced at. Yeah, so he should be like 77, 78, 7,900. So Draymond is a huge discount. And that's not my opinion. That is just based on this model. He is a great discount. And you know the reason why is because, he hasn't been doing much lately. 21.2 points per game lately, for a negative 11.9 2-week plus minus. So based on what he's doing lately, he is overpriced. Based on what he's doing lately, I can tell you what he should be priced at. I'm sorry that this is loading slowly. It's not buttery smooth, fast as can be. 21.9. Let's see. He's way down there. So he should be like 4,500, 44, 4,300, whatever. So Draymond sucks lately. But we know that Draymond does not suck. He is a great all-around player on a great team. He's projected for 32 minutes, which is just fine. And as a points per minute producer, you're getting good return on that, a 1.6 plus minus. His ceiling, not the greatest ceiling, 56.6, but you know what? If you can get that from a $6,600 player, you'll take that all day. His floor, 17.5. Obviously he's not been very good lately, so his floor is pretty low. But we know from his track record that he's a great player on a great team. Nice matchup with Portland, so I think Draymond is a fine play. But let's keep going with this model here, okay? Let's look at ceiling plus minus. So the same deal. For a guy at this price, to get 5x value, he needs to score whatever. Okay, so Anthony Davis is 12.5, very expensive, right? Very, very expensive. However, 12.5 times 5 is 62.5. So for him to give you 5x value, he needs to give you 62.5. Well, check this out. Not only has Anthony Davis averaged 63 over the last 2 weeks, but his ceiling is an incredible 104.9 points. He's done that before. So Roto Grinders, I like how they do their ceilings versus like Fantasy Labs. I don't know. Like I think that Fantasy Labs, I don't know the method that they use to come up with their ceilings. I don't know what Roto Grinders is, but Roto Grinders is less conservative than Fantasy Labs. And I think that's a good decision because Anthony Davis does have 104.9 point upside. I just don't know. I don't know what it is on Fantasy Labs right now. I'm not going to pull that up and waste your time for me poking around. But the point is that Anthony Davis has a monster ceiling. And check this out. On a plus minus basis, he's like 33% higher from the second guy. So as a ceiling play, he is super cheap. I mean, I don't even know what he should be priced at to get that ceiling, like probably $20,000. So, um, he's got it in him to do something like that. And you can see from the plus minus that, yes, the raw number is all great, but this gives it context. The plus minus gives it context. You can see that more when you scroll down a bit and look at guys who are actual humans. Case in point, compare Kawhi Leonard to Dennis Schroeder. They both have the exact same ceiling plus minus, but Kawhi's ceiling is 20 points higher. Well, that's also because Kawhi is $4,000 more, $3,800 more than Schroeder. So even though Kawhi's ceiling is 20 points higher, they're the same ceiling plus minus value. So, if you want to get Anthony Davis in there, but you also want to get some nice ceiling value in there, you definitely want to get Schroeder in over Kawhi, because that $3,800 difference will allow you to get Davis in there most likely and not really sacrifice too much else. However, there's floor, and as you can see, Anthony Davis's floor, it's high, but it's pretty close to the rest of the pack. And if he has a floor game, and anyone has the potential to have a floor game on any given night, you're really going to crush your lineup, because his floor plus minus, I'm going to wager it's the lowest. Oh, wow. No, it's not. Russell Westbrook, LeBron, Embiid, Giannis. So that's the thing is, these expensive guys are going to really have low floor plus minuses just because they're so expensive. And all of them, even though they have like a nice floor, 25, 30 points is a nice floor. But if you get 25 or 30 points from a guy who's 11, 12,000 bucks, it's going to crush you. But we want to factor that in to our final output, which is weighted plus minus. So what we do is we average floor plus minus, ceiling plus minus, projected plus minus, points per minute plus minus for efficiency purposes, and 2-week plus minus for recent performance, their recent form. 5 variables, all averaged together. I haven't weighted one more than the other. They're all equally weighted. They're just a simple average into what I call weighted plus minus. And weighted plus minus today says that Trey Burke is your best play of the slate for a variety of reasons. Okay, why? Because he has great recent form with the 2-week average. He has fine points per minute output. He's average, negative 0.3. I mean, it's basically average. He has a 28-point projection, which has well above average projected plus minus, because he's $4,900. His ceiling 55. I mean, the dude just did he flirted with 60 FanDuel points the other night. Super great value for ceiling. And then his floor plus minus of 23.7. I want to say that's the best. Let me sort. Descending. Okay. He is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. So behind Blakeney, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. Joval, TLC, Muscala, and Nwaba. So those guys are all great floor plays, but you have to look at things with more context. Okay, they're great floor plays, but Burke and Valanciunas are your best ceiling plays of those six guys, and Blakeney, Burke, Nwaba, Joe Val, way better projected plays than Muscala and TLC. Points per minute plays, Valanciunas obviously, crushes them all, but Burke and Blakeney are fine. They're average, roughly. But look at this. The recent performance. That's what kicks Trey Burke up a notch. And this is what I think a lot of people don't factor into their models, is recent form. Trey Burke's recent form is that of what I can't remember what we said. A guy that's way more expensive. A guy averaging 34 points should be way more than 4,900, but he's not. He's 4,900 bucks. So that 9.7, that whopping 9.7 factors in with all these and gives you that 8.7 weighted plus minus. So if we sort by, so conceivably, you could just come into this spreadsheet, sort by weighted plus minus, the far right column. Maybe I'll fill this with like blue to catch your attention. That's what you want to look at. Okay. And I don't like this yellow. I'm more of like a more subtle yellow. There you go. All right. So conceivably you can come in here and just play all these high weighted plus minus guys and feel good about it. Unfortunately, I screwed up and I don't have I tested this the other night, and I'm not kidding you. Like all the high weighted plus minus guys, and honestly, all the high weighted 2-week plus minus guys, were great plays. Like 35, 40, 45 points for like average mid-range guys. And then your higher price guys also performed really well too. So, the proof is in the pudding. Of course, I don't have any proof to show you right now. But if you don't believe me, just try it out with a $1 entry, a 25-cent entry and see what works for you. So before I show you how you might use this a little more precisely, let me just show you how you would use this. So again, I'm going to be posting this link on my my Twitter page. And I just realized you can't see these column headers right here. How about we go like this and move my stupid face down here? There you go. Weighted plus minus in blue. Floor plus minus. You can see it now. So I'm going to fade over here to Firefox. Move my dumb face over again. And show you how you can use this. So we're looking at Firefox. I'm not logged into my personal Google account. And as you can see, it says view only. This is what all of you are going to see. You're going to see view only. But you can't sort or filter anything. Oh my God, what do I do? All right, you click on this filter button right here. Okay? And you do create new temporary filter view. And momentarily it will open as a temporary filter view. You can X that out. Can you X this out? Yes, you can. Right? Nope, no you can't. Just kidding. All right. Create new temporary filter view. All right. So now, you know what I need to do? I need to lock the top row. Freeze the top row. Freeze current row. Now we'll go back to Firefox, and you can still have that header there. All right, so this is how you would use it. You would click that little button right there, filter views, and do create temporary filter view. And now you can filter, now you can sort columns, and all the other users, including me, won't see your changes. So for example, if you want to look at just shooting guards, it'll filter out all the other players. And if we go back to Chrome, you can see that that doesn't affect my view. It won't affect the other users' views who are using this sheet. So who are some good shooting guard plays tonight according to weighted plus minus? Dennis Schroeder and David Nwaba lead the pack. Antonio Blakeney is right behind them. And Jordan Clarkson, Terrence Ross, THJ, kind of mushed together there. We can go on and on and on, but there are about there are 18 guys who are above the 0 mark for plus minus. So there's a nice group of guys who are available there for the picking, but weighted plus minus really shows you who is a great play. Dennis Schroeder is a great play. Why is he a great play? Okay, well, first and foremost, over the last 2 weeks, he's averaged 37.6 FanDuel points for a 7.6 2-week plus minus. So at 6K, you are getting a huge discount on his recent form. Is it boosted by Russ? Sure, but he can coexist with Russ, as he's showing. 31 minutes projected, and his points per minute output is average. 32.9 projected points, positive plus minus, 59.1 ceiling, really nice ceiling discount for the 6K salary, and a 26.9 floor. The current FanDuel RotoGrinders projections have him with a really nice floor for that salary. Add those all together, average them up, and you get 7.3 weighted plus minus for the best, according to my model, shooting guard play for what he is looking to return for you, as well as his salary. That's shooting guard. What about small forward? Okay. Wilson Chandler, projected for 30 minutes, projected for 25 points, 44-point ceiling, 17-point floor, 4.3 weighted plus minus. But his recent form, not that great, 13.9 points. We know that Wilson Chandler was kind of getting his minute restriction raised up as he came back from being out for a long period of time. But he looks like a good play, at least from a punt perspective. We don't know if that's the position we want to punt yet. We don't know if that's the guy we want to punt with yet. It's going to take some time to poke around, but, doesn't hurt that a $3,800 small forward projected for 30 minutes going against a terrible defensive team in Cleveland has a slate leading, as of now, 9 a.m. Eastern time when I updated this, weighted plus minus of 4.3. So Wilson Chandler, Otto Porter, Mario Hezonja, some kind of, blah options up there. But Paulie George, 8,800, outstanding, kind of upper mid-range play according to this model at 2.9 weighted plus minus. But that doesn't even sniff Schroeder's, whatever it was, 7.4. So if you want to get exposure to wings on that OKC offense going against Charlotte, probably want to go with Schroeder, probably. Power forward. Oh, shit. I forgot. Let me go back to small forward. I might have forgotten somebody. Nope, never mind. Every time you change the filter, make sure you scroll up because sometimes a guy at the top gets cut off. Okay. So I think it's pretty clear that you want to get Anthony Davis in your lineup. Why? Well, John Collins and Rashawn Holmes are right above him. I mean, those are fine weighted plus minuses of 4.5 and 3.6. However, John Collins is still getting into form. His recent output of 20.7 versus his 5.1 salary he's overpriced based on his recent output. We know that he was out the whole beginning of the season. He's a solid point per minute producer. Young player. But I think there are other places I'd rather spend $5,100 on than John Collins going against Boston. He is at home, but still, I'm not crazy about it. Rashawn Holmes, I mean, he's projected for 16 minutes. By the way, I removed all players under 16 minutes, projected for 16 minutes. Why 16 minutes? Because, I don't know, it's 1/3 of a game. That's really the only reason why I picked 16 minutes. I used to pick in my other models like 24 minutes for half of a game, right? 24 minutes is half of 48 minutes, but that left out a lot of those rotational guys, the 16 to 24 minute types of guys that, depending on what you view for a given matchup, could actually get some nice run. So I want to include those in this model. But Anthony Davis, my God, like this guy, you are basically getting the same value for him as you are for Al-Farouq Aminu or Noah Vonleh. So Anthony Davis is 12 points. He's $2,600 more than Aminu and Vonleh combined, but he's the same value as them on a weighted plus minus point of view. Actually, he's better, 0.1 better. So right here, I'm like super into Anthony Davis. He's your expensive guy that really pops at his position. Top 3 in weighted plus minus. Let's look at center. Jonas Valanciunas against the Wizards. No surprise there. The Wizards are some doo-doo. Definitely want to get some Toronto players in there. And he is a great points per minute producer. Doesn't get a lot of minutes. But if he gets, 24 minutes, 22, 24 minutes, the guy can return crazy points. Very volatile, though. As you can see, the 24.8 2-week average is telling us he's a little overpriced. But you're getting crazy ceiling with him. So you're going to have to pay a little bit of a premium. This model likes him in this matchup with his slate leading for centers, 6.8 weighted plus minus. Mike Muscala, also in a good matchup with Cleveland. If Philly blows the doors off of them, he can get some nice run. 4.4 weighted plus minus. Only 4K. But Steven Adams, he looks to be a really nice play for you at 7,400. The guy gets lots of minutes, projected for 34 minutes. You can't beat 34 minutes from your center. And a points per minute basis, he uses those 34 minutes pretty well. 0.4 ain't bad. Averages almost 40 points over the last 2 weeks, which is a nice discount for 7,400. 3.1 weighted plus minus, not bad. And the same goes for Dwayne Dedmon, 3.1. He was pretty popular the other night. And though he's only projected for 24 minutes, that $2,400 discount from Steven Adams is the reason why we see them moving into similar weighted plus minuses, exactly the same weighted plus minuses. So there you go. Let's finish up with point guard. Then I'll show you a couple other tricks, and then we can hit the road here. So Trey Burke, 8.7. I mean, how do you not use this guy tonight going against the Pelicans? I don't know. I mean, like, that's that's crazy. All signs point to yes for Trey Burke. Then you got a bunch of guys blending in there. Patty Mills, Terry Rozier, Tomas Satoransky, Quinn Cook. I don't even know how to say this. Ryan Arcidiacono. Did I say that right? I'm sorry. Eric Bledsoe, Kyle Lowry. So, and Fred Van Vliet. Can't talk right now. So, what's the next way to look at this? The next way to look at this is, where do you pay down? Okay, let's look at all the positions here. Well, let's start with, where do you pay up? Okay, and then let's filter by condition, and we'll do greater than or equal to 10K. My wife's probably going to knock on the door here, and I'm going to say, I'm almost done. So embarrassing. So we've got 6 guys over 10K tonight on FanDuel. And Anthony Davis is the most expensive, but he's the greatest play according to weighted plus minus. Interesting. What about your upper mid-range guys? Is between 8 and 10K. Paul George is your best value. Apparently Ben Simmons is your worst. I guess he's really hurt badly by that 2-week plus minus. 41.6 2-week plus or 2-week raw average. But at 9,900, like, that's really expensive for Ben Simmons, according to this. So he comes in with a negative 4.9. Same with John Wall, negative 4.7. So you're better off looking at these guys up here and, saving yourself some moolah. What about your true mid-range guys? Your like 6,500 to 8K guys. I feel my spidey senses are tingling that I'm going to have to say, I'm almost done. I mean, there's not a lot here. Like, there's some guys you definitely don't want to use according to this. Wendell Carter, Pascal Siakam, Trae Young, DeAndre Ayton. Like, it feels weird because these guys are such good plays normally. But apparently not tonight. Take it for what it's worth. You're better off using Steven Adams, Tim Hardaway Jr., Chris Middleton. What about your true, or these were your true mid-range guys, like your higher priced value plays. Your higher priced value plays. Schroeder, Valanciunas, John Collins. The other thing you can do here is sort by minutes. Your value plays, you just want them on the court a lot. So Colin Sexton, 34 minutes projected, but negative 5.6 weighted plus minus. No, thank you. But Etuan Moore, Otto Porter, I mean, Schroeder right there. I mean, Schroeder, my God, like, give me a break. The guy is so cheap. And then let's look at your your 4K range guys. Go back and Rodney Hood looks good. Magruder, Cedi Osman. But obviously Trey Burke. I mean, the dude is a baller. You know, he's been crushing it. So I like Trey Burke a lot. Muscala depends on game flow. You know, you definitely want to look at him more for large field GPPs. And then let's look at our punts. 3,500 to 3,900. Apparently your best punt is Nawab. I mean, there's a bunch of good punts. Nawaba, Blakeney, Chandler, Patty Mills, Rozier, Rashawn Holmes, Satoransky, Hazonia. I mean, these are all based on weighted plus minus. You know, and if you sort by minutes, and again, when you're punting, you just want a guy to give you safe minutes. Chandler, Nawaba, Lakina, Nilakina, Patty Mills. You know, I mean, Chandler just seems like a pretty safe bet in that Cleveland game to get some nice run and, you know, give you some decent return. He's a nice insurance policy because, yeah, his recent form isn't great, but the projections are saying he's a fine play, and so is weighted plus minus. So you can do with this model all kinds of different things, like any model. Filters and sorting, you know. I mean, another thing you can do here, and let's get out of Firefox and go back to Chrome. The other thing you can do here is you can go to Fantasy Labs Vegas, and you can find what your favorite game is. Sorry, I was going to. Oops, shit. I just realized I was going to their NFL Vegas lines. So the other thing you can do is, let's go to the main slate once the damn thing loads. I'm going to go to FanDuel, slate, main. All right, so what's our juiciest game? Damn. Pels and Knicks. So that's what I'm saying is the Vegas line is baked in. I mean, that's got to factor into Trey Burke and Anthony Davis's weighted plus minuses. We could just look at these games. I mean, Pels and Knicks. So we'll go to team. And we'll do New Orleans and Knicks. And who are some pieces we want to use there? I mean, Trey Burke, Hazonia, Davis, you know, some of those New Orleans starters. I would probably, so you got Julius Randle, Nikola Mirotic, and Etuan Moore. Like, I'd probably be interested in using Etuan over Randle, Mirotic, and Drew Holiday. Really, because you're saving 2 to 3K and you're getting the upside of this game. You're getting a cheap exposure to this game environment. Combine him with Davis and it's 18K. Their combined projection is 88 85 points. So 85 divided by 18 is 4.7x value. But their recent performance, E'Twaun and Davis, is 93. So that's 5.1. So, I mean, I think that that duo there of E'Twaun and Davis is like a really nice value. And as we know, Davis has monster upside. I mean, let's be a little more conservative and let's say that he scores you 80 in this game and E'Twaun gives you 35. That's 115 divided by 18, and that's 6.4x value. So that's a nice duo there. Anthony Davis and then the cheaper exposure. And E'Twaun Moore, he's a starter. He gets crazy minutes. In fact, in this game, if we sort by minutes, he is right behind Davis, Holiday, and Hardaway for most minutes. Yes, what's the big red flag there? The negative 3.1 points per minute plus minus. He is a little overpriced at 5,500 for the 30.1 2-week average. However, or I'm sorry, he is overpriced. Sorry, I have to remember that the points per minute plus minus is not related to salary. It's related to that constant of 1.07. So he's not a good points per minute producer. That's what we're trying to say. But he's on the court a lot. He's in a great game environment. He is actually cheap for what he's been doing lately, the 2.6 2-week plus minus. So, I like it. Anyways, I think that's enough for today. Like I said, I'm going to post this in my Twitter profile, and I'll pin this video so you can refer back to it easily. This is all free. I'm not going to be charging anybody anything for this because, like I said, I'm a busy guy. I got 2 kids. I got a really demanding job, and I can't promise you I'll update this each day. But if you want to just log into this model and look in the top left box here at updated time, you can see what you're working with. And I think that it's good. I think it's a very promising model. All this stuff you can get for free. All this RotoGrinders data, that's some of their free stuff. I'm not stealing anything from them and reproducing it, immorally, illegally. It's free. And so until they make it behind a paywall, I'm going to do this. So that's it. I hope this helps you. Good luck to all of you guys. Thank you for watching. And hit me up on Twitter at Josh Fern. See y'all.